Hi, everyone. Welcome to RbD's Workout Wednesdays, a weekly show designed to deliver bite-sized training sessions that equip and empower you with practical tools to unlock and unblock your path to success. Our show features industry experts from our other weekly show, Rev Shots. We're showcasing real-world tactics and strategies that work. Tune in to make your numbers, retain your team, and delight your customers. Follow me on LinkedIn or join our mailing list to stay updated on our latest speakers and episodes. Let's move forward together, one Wednesday at a time. Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Revenue by Design's Workout Wednesday. I am Dion Major, founder of Revenue by Design, and I am beyond thrilled to have Merilee with us and Sheena joining us today. You all know Workout Wednesday is designed to give you quick and snack-sized nuggets of training and wisdom that we can use immediately because, man, we go through our days and we kind of get heads down and sometimes we need to pick ourselves up a little bit. So whether you're tuning in now or you're going to listen to this later, this is absolutely going to be a must listen to episode. They all are, but I'm going to say especially this one. I'm really excited to have Merilee with us as well as Sheena. For some of you, Merilee was one of our speakers at the H2H Human Connections Done Right virtual summit that we did in March. And she was also a guest on Rev Shots just a little bit ago, a few weeks ago. And she is one of those women who is doing amazing work that if you have not connected with her, you absolutely must. This is not a nice to have. This is a must have at the end of the day. And Merilee, you and I were connected through Shannon Gregg, who is also equally amazing. And I got to say, the work that you do it's transformational and what everybody needs at this point. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I'm always honored to be in your energy and presence, Deanna. I'm so happy we've been connected. I'm just excited again to be able to just be here. And as you said, have a conversation, but really be able to, just give some quick strategies around some of the work I do, which is around the mindset and our energy.
Yeah. And I love that too, Merilee. I mean, I don't mind the let's talk and all that jazz, but I'm such a bottom line thinker. Right. And for so long, I always thought something was wrong with me. And now I'm like, no, I'm just an entrepreneur. Like, I'm just that person where I'm like, start with the end in mind. Just give me the answer to the test and let's back into it at the end of the day. So I think through conversations with you and others, I'm like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. This is just how I am. And now I know how to use it. Right. So I love that. And I'm so blessed that we are connected. And Sheena, thank you for joining us today and meeting you briefly before we went live. Love everything you're doing. So tell us a little bit about you as well, please.
Thank you. Yes, I'm so excited to be here today with the both of you. So thank you for having me. My name is Sheena Meliska, and I am the owner and marketing strategist for Bella V Creative, which is a boutique marketing service platform basically that we offer full comprehensive marketing solutions for small business owners, entrepreneurs, and nonprofits. Our tagline is to live beautifully, which is kind of what my goal is in providing marketing solutions for all of my clients. I have participated in Merilee's. I know she'll be talking a little bit more about this in a bit, but I participated in her petite retreats and also have done her energy assessment, and also her inner leader workshops as well. And they've been a huge, let's say, light and made a positive difference for me. So I'm excited to be here and talk a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And again, just beyond excited. I'm at a loss for words for today. Merilee, there's a lot of ground that you cover in the help and structure and guidance that you provide folks. You've been doing this for 28 years. You're an amazing coach. You help high achieving women really find their niche. And so today, what we want to focus on, a couple of things, right? I know you talk about your petite retreats and I love those. And we want to talk too about kind of the current work you're doing and the inner voices we all have. So tell us a little bit about that, please.
Yeah. So I get super excited when I have an opportunity to chat about this. So yes, so Spark with Merilee, I rebranded last year, coming off of corporate training and development for 20 some years, decided to go all in on my own business, really
Love it.
feeling passionate about, we can have all the practical, tactical, technical skills and all of the scripts to be high performing and achieving. And yet if we're not able to own our energy and really lead that in a way that it helps us and not stresses us out and doesn't cause fear and all of that, that can get in our way. And so when I really got that hit to start my own business 5 years ago, it was really about helping high achieving women, business owners and their teams, sparking them off of autopilot to really wake up so that we can really stop at, this is like my new download with this inner voices that I'm doing, stop the perfectionist hustle so that we truly can lead and live with more purpose, presence, passion, and peace at work and in all areas of our life. And so a key piece of that the work that I do with this is around the inner board members in our head. So picturing that conference table sitting there, how many of us at 3 a.m. have that, we wake up at 6 and we're tired because we've already had that meeting in our head for like the past 3 hours, right? And we're ready to go off to the races of all the million things that we need to do, and we have to do it right, and we've got to get it all done, right? And so the idea with the inner voices is that there's anywhere from defeat, where we, as high achieving women, that's not even, I call these inner board members. So they all have their unique personality, but truly they're those voices in our head, but they all have a purpose and a place. So defeat is when we are feeling overwhelmed, like we just can't take on one more thing, or maybe we're feeling a little bit like not enough, or that wasn't perfect enough, all the way up to opportunity, our inner leader. And the idea with it all is that these are all of us. And they are these beautiful voices inside of us that serve a purpose and a time and a place. And the power is getting off of autopilot, is to be able to consciously be able to embrace them, not fight them, not push them away. You just said yourself, when I realized I was a bottom liner and I was an entrepreneur, and I realized to actually really own that and actually lean into that and not fight it, like that's where the purpose, the passion, the peace can come in.
Yes. So many good things that you had just talked about. And I have so many questions. And I think a lot of what I hear too, if I had to put on my bottom line hat, right, is knowing yourself, having a level of self-awareness of what's coming at you, sometimes in your own head, perceived or real, and then loving yourself for who you are and just being okay with it. And then I think ultimately too is like, how does all of that work in a group? Right. And so I think there's some of that there as well. If I had to kind of maybe reiterate or just maybe put my 2 cents into that. Any thoughts, reactions to that?
I mean, definitely what we're thinking and what we're feeling internally absolutely drives our outwardly behaviors towards people, and our people that we love and people that we lead and people that we work with. And so when we are feeling that pressure, and as high achieving, professionals, specifically, I see this, that is where that perfection is. So the inner board member I call judgment likes to stand up and take center stage, right? And it's got to be perfect. It's got to get done. We've got to get this, we've got to achieve this goal. And you know what? Let's throw in another priority and let's do that, right? So when we start from that space, we're not only, and by the way, let me just back up for a second, because there's not, it's both and, it's yes and, like, let's face it, that is an inner board member that helps us be incredibly successful,
100%.
motivated, drives the bottom line for sure. And at the same point, when we're grouping in those group dynamics, whether it's people we're leading with or people that we're working with, or whether it's with clients, right? That's where that added pressure and stress can come in, because when we're feeling that, it's coming out, right, in some way, shape, or form. And so I also believe as leaders, right, it's that whole vulnerability factor. Whenever we're in that space, that all or nothing, it's like we have that armor on, right? And failure is not an option, right? So we don't look at those things necessarily as, oh, okay, what did I learn from that? Okay, what's the opportunity here, right? We can get very into that very judgy space that can really bring down, actually, while motivating for the short term, can really actually hinder creativity, innovation, productivity, all of those things.
Yeah. Perfectionism is deadly. right? And I sometimes I'll introduce myself as a recovering perfectionist and people pleaser, and because there's just so much. For some of us, that's a thing, right? And it's not bad, like you said. You just have to know how to harness it appropriately. And the visual that's in my head right now is the end of Inside Out, the Disney Pixar movie, where Joy finally is like, oh, it's not either or, it's an and all the emotional balls come in and they look like these beautiful marbles, right? Or agates if you're a stone collector. So whenever I find myself getting into that space, I think of those little marbles at the end of Inside Out. So yeah.
And I think that that's why there's so many people that really resonate with that movie, because it is our human experience.
Yeah.
And that's, so the work that I'm certified in, whenever I decided to become really lean in and move a little bit from facilitation to one-on-one coaching, there's so many programs out there, but this particular program, it's from IPEC, the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching, but the work's called Energy Leadership. So it's all about, again, what we're thinking about drives that inner state, our emotions and our energy, and impacts our confidence, our well-being, our leadership, all of those things.
Yeah.
And so what I've done is I've taken these 7 levels of energy, which I have a mindset assessment that kind of assesses based on who you are right now and your current consciousness, right? You're either stressing yourself out or you are, leading yourself in an effective way. And there's no right or wrong. It's truly self-awareness and understanding. So now creating some inner board members around these energy levels, right? So to your point, we can be drivers and people pleasers.
Yep.
For compassion, that's the flow and balance. I just talked about that this week. Actually, there'll be a video coming out tomorrow. Inner board member compassion, but to get out of the judgment and the perfectionism,
right.
It's really leaning into compassion for ourselves.
And
not, of course, we can hear the whole oxygen mask analogy, or, as leaders, we can maybe not delegate, or maybe we're delegating too much. Like it can really get in the way of those behaviors. So you're right. It's embracing and loving the yes and in all of us so that we truly can feel lighter, feel more in control of so many things in this world that are not in control, but we can definitely control on how we choose to show up and respond. And you mentioned being a recovering perfectionist. And where does perfectionism come from? Like I really dove into this lately. So many different places. A lot of it does come from how society won, especially for women, but also how we were raised. I love my family, but they're high driving perfectionists. So it was always like in my mind, right? That story was created early on that, who am I if this isn't perfect? And if I don't get the straight A's, if I didn't go into this career, and that can really stick with us.
Oh, it does. And I think learning how to harness that appropriately is a superpower and sometimes for some of us a lifelong journey. I'm not going to say who. So Sheena, you have participated in Merilee's Petite Retreats. Tell us your thoughts on that participation and kind of what that was like for you, as much as you're comfortable sharing, right? Because I think that's what we want to really dive into here.
Of course.
We love all of Merilee's content and I love everything you're saying. And, when we think about doing this level of work, what does that really look like at the end of the day?
Yeah. So the Petite Retreats were awesome. It's such a unique group of women that come together in these sessions, and they're very small and intimate, which is also nice, where you can really get to know the other women that are in the group, but it also feels like a safe space to share how you're really feeling or what you may be going through. And Merilee does an excellent job of facilitating conversations around, for example, the inner board members and how you might be feeling in certain situations, and then what your behaviors are when you are in one of those levels. And I think a lot of women that have actually come are, small business owners. They're in, large companies, but they are high achieving, high performing women. And I think we all experience the same things in one way or another. So it provides a really nice platform, again, to share, but then also understand, why we're doing what we're doing or why we may be feeling a certain way. And then that self-awareness piece, understanding it and being like, oh, okay, that's my inner critic coming up right now, or I'm judging myself, or and giving it a different lens to maybe look at, so that you can kind of pull yourself out of that space and move forward in a more positive direction. So
Yeah. That's amazing. How long are the petite retreats? Tell us a little bit about the logistics.
yeah, Merilee, do you want to talk about that since your format for the petite retreats?
Oh no, I think
4 hours.
Oh,
okay.
there she is.
Oh, did I freeze?
You know, the internet is glitchy
I didn't
today.
notice that. They are intentionally meant to be for 4 hours to just allow space for a conversation. So teaching the very practical, tactical tool around the inner board members, helping women really get grounded and understanding which of the unique personalities these voices are that are sitting in that conference table in our head, but then allowing the space with some exercises. So an example, giving a scenario, right? Like, so I got some feedback that was less than ideal from my leader. And so, okay, that happened. So what does that sound like and feel like from inner board member defeat? What does that sound like from inner board member judgment? And really playing like, if I'm thinking this and I'm feeling this, then what are my actions, helpful or not? So it gives them a space to kind of separate, to recognize the human experience, but that also start playing with, oh yeah, I've totally been there. And you know what, that kept me actually from going for that job, because you know what, I kept telling myself, yeah, who am I? I don't deserve it, as opposed to tapping into inner board member opportunity. Inner board member opportunity is all about, I know that no matter what action I take, I'm going to learn something from it, right? I'm going to go after, like, the fear is not even on my consciousness when I'm approaching and leading from inner board member opportunity. So right. to go back to your point, Dion, it's really giving them a space to get a very grounded, practical tool, and then to start playing with it with some real live conversations, whether that's in the workplace, whether that's, in our personal lives, wherever we want to take it as high achieving women, because we know that we're taking and carrying it all.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? And where does that even come from? Right? Where did that come from for you, Sheena?
Which piece would that be?
Right. I think really what you were talking about is, I love the heightened sense of self-awareness, because I agree with you. I heard that from our pastor, where he goes, our thoughts determine our feelings determine our actions. And I love the fact that you're putting more detail around that cascading effect, if you will. Right. And, Sheena, talk a little bit about when you were going through the petite retreat, your aha moments and what that really did for you, and maybe what it unlocked for you.
Yeah, I think the main thing was, so for example, if you start at the very bottom with defeat, there are certain thoughts, as you both were just talking about, that are on replay in your mind when you're in a certain stage. So with defeat, it's, I'm not good enough. I'm so overwhelmed. I can't do this. So I find myself, even in my business, like, if something happens, then I'm like, and I just get so defeated, and I'm like, oh, what am I going to do about this? I don't know. But if you're able to see, okay, and have the awareness and say, oh, I'm feeling defeat right now.
Yeah.
Why am I feeling this way? And as Merilee usually says, honor it and be like, okay, feel the feeling of being defeat, and then understand it. And then take the tactics of what you're learning in the petite retreat to kind of move to that next stage, or move up that energy ladder to the place of opportunity, where you're seeing all outcomes and really learning from the experience as well. So, and I know Merilee will talk about this, but she's developed little inner board member characters for each phase. And so she's been releasing them on a weekly basis, and they have their own colors and own styles. So now in my head, instead of just thinking defeat, I see that, character. So I'm like, oh, and I'm recognizing it a little bit more. But yeah, so it's a positive experience, but also helps you kind of work through things from a personal side, because you could be feeling one way personally and then a separate way professionally as well. So it's kind of, balancing those and understanding them.
Yes. That is so good. Merilee, talk a little bit more about what Sheena's saying with the characters and all that good stuff.
That's so the characters are a strategy. They're a strategy of really taking these things, these intangible things, our thoughts, our emotions, and our energy, right? But which, by the way, can get a bad rap from society, right? There's no crying in baseball, and that's how I was raised. So when I went out into the world as a leader, and I think back how I handled some of the things with the people that I led, I'm like, ooh, because that is the conscious. So these literally are like different lenses that from which we are looking at the world, right? And so if I'm in judgment, right, I'm in that driving, it's got to be done, it's got to be right, and I'm going to come in hard and I'm coming in fast if it's not, right? Ask my husband and children.
I have a lot of that energy too, Merilee.
Totally. Yeah.
And so getting back to your question, Dion, like developing these characters around it, it's allowing us to create some distance. Like they are not yes, they are all part of us, but they're not necessarily our identity. They make up all of us, right? And at the end of the day, the highest inner board member is our inner leader, and it is our inner leader who sees all of them. And so based on the situation, okay, which one do I need to listen to? Which one gets the mic today from an inner board member and thoughts, and which one doesn't? And if I'm feeling like a little, oh man, like I put an offer out there about 2 months ago and it didn't go as well as I had thought, right? And so then I'm like, oh, I suck. Like, what's this about? And then inner board member judgment's like, oh yeah, you do. Like, what are you doing? Like, just quit. But I was able to recognize that. And then I was like, I know this sounds kind of cheesy, but I'm like literally saying, okay, in my head, okay, opportunity and connection. Well, I had to connect back with my why. This is my why. I'm not giving up on it. And you know what? I was like, you know what? If that offer was put to me, is that something I would invest in my time right now? You know what? I'm not sure. Oh, opportunity. Where's there a different way to look at this? So I honored, it's not pushing and putting things down, because this is all about emotional agility, Dion, as well. Like it's being able to embrace the suck and lead ourselves through the suck to the other side of opportunity creation, all of those things. And, take it back to the externally in the workplace, when we can do this, we can lead ourselves in this way. We are going to model that for others. We are going to give them, we're giving them grace and space, and yet we're still going to challenge them, right? But coming from a space of opportunity, not full blown out judgment.
Yeah. Again, so many good things that you just covered there, Merilee, where again, the self-awareness and reconnecting with some of that. And I think the other piece is recognizing whatever it is that's going on and just sitting with it for a second, right? I think you had mentioned this term in one of your videos of whatever you resist persists, right? And it's so true. It's like magnets, right? And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's even just saying, it's not like, if I was thinking that I was feeling that, well, then no wonder I was a jerk in that meeting. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what am I going to do about it now, right? And the other thing I would say to all of this that can be really powerful is so the petite retreat's amazing, giving a space for all these different women coming from all different perspectives on the professional realm together to make that connection. When I've seen teams go through it, it's really powerful because now they have a common language.
Yep.
Right? And it's creating that space of like, yeah, so rationalization is, interboard member rationalization, I'm fine, it's fine. Or you know what? Yeah, let's not deal with that priority right now because that's too hard and that's too difficult. Let's focus on this. That's not, guess what? That's not as important, right? So it's just, it's very, in my perspective, I think it's a very simple, but yet very profound and powerful way to help us just be more effective in all areas of our life.
Yeah. Yeah. And simplicity, I think, is underrated. One of the things when I lead workshops with sales leaders and revenue teams is we would all fail kindergarten as adults. There's no question in my mind because we would overcomplicate everything. And I love what you're talking about too. So it sounds like in addition to the petite retreats that are maybe for individuals and creating kind of a cohort, you're also going in and working with teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, definitely. And it's a similar experience, right? Some of the same very exercises, right? If I was going into that sales conversation, what would it look like from these different levels? Which one feels right? Oh, you know what? I'm still stuck in, I'm not sure. I'm judging myself around that, or that feels icky. Okay, great. Let's get curious and process what's going on there that's going to help you shift that, right?
100%. 100%. I think it's so powerful. Sheena, talk a little bit about some of your takeaways and how maybe they've stayed with you after the petite retreat.
Yeah, so I think for myself, and I actually was just like thinking about this the other day, only because of this week's inner board member was compassion. I find myself a lot of times overextending myself and, overcommitting or helping other people. And sometimes personally, I'm not taking care of myself. So back to what we were talking about earlier. So just having that self-awareness and understanding, okay, I'm feeling depleted and why I'm feeling that way and what I need to do personally to not feel that way anymore or not overextend myself. So it also gives you those little spidey sense too, to know what's popping up for you and why it's popping up. And then when you're able to have that awareness, it just, it helps, again, just personally and professionally too. So, which is huge.
Makes a ton of sense. Makes a ton of sense. Far-reaching implications for tools, right? Just
Exactly.
And the learnings and all that good stuff. Merilee, where can people find you?
You can find me hanging out on LinkedIn. So I've been doing a lot of interaction there. Definitely on my website, sparkwithmerilee.com. I'm also on Instagram, still on Facebook.
We are. I think some of us are, and I don't know about you, but I have like severely limited my interaction there.
Yeah.
All sorts of privacy settings. So.
I agree. Yeah, it's definitely. I would say then I just have a couple. I know we're at our time. The other thing, what I would say was this, it also helps me to have compassion for other people, and not in the sense that I need to jump in and help them. Right. Guess what? If we've got these things going on in our head, they do too. So it helps me like, yeah, something's going on there. And how can I meet them where they are, as opposed to like taking it personally or, kind of fighting back. And the other thing I would say with the perfectionism, and if anybody who's Brene Brown fans out there, you know that it's not, go check it out, right? It's all about the shame fuels perfectionism. If you go out there and you really listen to that, right? And so shame likes to be, the counteract shame is to be seen. And so these inner board members really allow that to happen too.
Yeah. Amen to that. I'm a huge Brene Brown fan. Dare to Lead. All of her books are so amazing. So, all right, everybody. You heard it here. Get your inner board members aligned. Get the tools, because we all are great and have greatness in us. And man alive, we can't let shame stop us from helping other people and being who we need to be. Merilee, and do you have something to say?
One last thing I was going to say with that. So I am doing a series on the inner board members on LinkedIn. We are on week 4 with inner board member compassion. You can go back and learn about defeat, judgment, and rationalization. And just follow me, because you will continue to meet them as they unfold.
Yep. I love that. And I know you're also doing some more upcoming petite retreats, right?
Yes.
Okay. We'll make sure, everybody. So in case you missed us live, make sure you are tuning in and join us for Rev Shots as well as Workout Wednesday. And until then, get your inner board members to the table and just wrestle those guys to the ground and gals, right? So rise above the noise in our head. Merilee and Sheena, thank you so much for joining today. This has been amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. All right, everybody.